Is around 5 minutes. Eddie's around 10 minutes late. Did Levi make a bas mitzvah?
Yes.
Okay, so usually Levi's car is here early, but he was not here today. He's one of those. If he's here, he's coming 5 minutes early. If he's not here, then he's not. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf. Good morning, Eddie. Daf Mem Daled and Mem Hey. So we'll try and push, see if we can even finish the parak. So let's get started. So we said 5 lines from the bottom on Mem Gimel Amud Beis. We said over there that an animal that gores, that the owner is, the levels of obligation in terms of muad and tam, they apply. And says the Mishnah, even ben ubas. Ben ubas is referring to a minor, even a child. So you're just as obligated whether the animal kills a full adult or even a child. There is no difference. So Tana Rabbanan says, "O ben yigach, o bas yigach, l'chayv al-ktam k'gedolim," to obligate killing of minors the same as adults. So one says, "I b'halu dinu." I don't understand. Well, can't you learn it without the pasuk? We have a case. We know a person kills a person or causes damage to a person. So you're chayiv, and also a person, and also an animal that causes damage or kills a person. So let's learn the two. Just like when a person kills another person, doesn't make a difference whether you kill a person who's an adult or a minor. Also, when an animal kills a human, it should not make a difference. So why do you need a special lima? Furthermore, when it comes to humans, so there's certain aspects where a human is not considered to be a human, i.e. a minor is not obligated to mitzvahs, and a minor, we don't subject them to certain laws because they're only a ktanim and not gedolim. Nevertheless, we say if a person does kill a minor who's not obligated in certain things, nevertheless, a person is chai for that. So sure, top of yesterday's page. Shor bi'adam. So an ox, which does have a status of once an animal is born, it's called by the Torah a shor, right? So an ox from day one has the status of a shor, of an adult animal. Shor bi'adam. It's obvious that the minors should be considered if an ox kills a katan. Obviously, it should be the same status as a goat. So the Torah says, look, maybe we say that the reason why you're chayiv, right, with an adult is we're more machmir because you're chayiv for all 4 things. But with the shore, since you're not chayiv for 4 things, so maybe you're not even chayiv for a minor. So therefore it says, oh, ben yigach or bas yigach. Therefore you need a pasuk to come teach you even a minor. To teach you that you're chayiv for killing, for if the animal kills a minor, just like a gadol. I only know muadim. So, and which is that's where it was stated. The tam minayin. So how do we know? In the case of a tam, if an animal kills a tam, now we know that if one intentionally kills a tam, that even though you don't, excuse me, if a tam intentionally kills a person, that even though that you don't pay kofar because it was the first time offense, nevertheless, since a tam was done with kavana, and therefore you put the animal to death. So how do we know that that would apply even if the victim is a minor? So so we'll learn once again. I should have a logical argument. Since you're chayiv, a man and a woman is alike. V'chayiv ben ubas, and also chayiv, so male or female or child or adult. Just like a male or female victim, there's no difference between a tam muad. The ben ubas. So too, when you're obligated for a ben ubas for a child. Shouldn't be a difference, to the status of killing the animal, whether it was the animal's first time, it was a tam, or it was a muad already the multiple times. Furthermore, another kabbalah.
What was the kabbalah there?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a kabbalah. It was a mematzina. It was just like we find that when the victim, when it comes to a female, male or female, it doesn't make a difference, tam or muad, right? So the female is just like the male. So too, the child should be just like the adult, whether it's a tam or a mu'ah. It's a mu'ah over there. right? And so that was the first argument, and then the Gemara says, "Oh, kavachemer." And furthermore, we have another argument we could say. Now, this one's a kavachemer. Ma ish v'isha shechein hara keicham ben. So a man and woman, right? They don't really have good status when it comes to nezikin. Why is that? Because they're chai for everything, right? Adam u'alaylam, and so to a woman is chai for anything she does. Nevertheless, lo chilakta bein betam lemuad. So there's no difference whether tam and what. So ben ubas sheyafa keicham ben nezikin, but a minor who does have good position when it comes to nezikin, i.e., they're not chayiv. If a child causes damage at 9 years old, is not chayiv. Right? It's obvious that you shouldn't go ahead and be mechalik between tam and muad. So Amar to the Gemara says, "V'chidan and kavachemer lahachmer." Einachinami, you want to say that you should be chayiv, but who says that you want to learn out that a child is chayiv just like isha? That's fine, but that's only in case of muad. So who says we should be more machmer and say that also applies in the case of tam? And skip the parentheses, and even marta ish v'isha maybe ish v'isha when they are the when they are the victims, maybe they're obligated in mitzvahs. That's the reason why we're not mechalik between tam and muad. Right, Torah ben abash termina mitzvahs, we're patur mina mitzvahs. The tam aloyma, therefore it says, oh ben yigach, oh bas yigach, negicha betam, negicha b'muad, negicha lamisa, negicha l'nezik. Right, whether the animal gored them, it was a tam or a muad, or it killed them, or caused damage. Nevertheless, we treat the minor victim just like an adult victim for all cases of kofir and putting the animal or killing the animal, stoning the animal. Fine. Next Mishnah. So we're on Mem Daled. Fine. So sure, shahaya miskachik b'kaiso. The nafal adam. You have if there was an ox that was rubbing up, like scratching his back or something aside, up against a fence, a wall, and it knocked down the wall. And what do you know? There was a person at the side, and he got killed. So that's one case. That's case A. So the animal went ahead and was rubbing its side on the wall, right? Killed a person, or in this kind of was the behema, or if the animal was charging at a behema, the guy jumped ahead, jumped in front, and pushed the behema out of the way, and it killed him. Adam. Or Leknani, or it was trying to go ahead and kill a non-Jew, Harag ben Yisrael, and to kill the Jew, or in the Phelim, or it was going to go ahead and try to gore a Nephil, someone who was not going to survive, and it killed a Ben Kaima, and it killed someone who was, could have lived longer. Putter. All these cases are putter because the kavana was not to go ahead and kill an ish, and therefore that even though a person did kill, so nevertheless it's not considered to be kavana, and therefore we don't go ahead and it's pater. We'll soon see what pater means.
Yeah, but the first case,
yeah,
mischachech,
right?
That's not the same as it's not a din of Karen. It's a din
of rega.
Rega.
Right. So, or Shane, right? Right.
It's substantially different from the other cases.
Okay. 100% true. But the all of the case of the animal, the fire, when it says pater, that we don't kill the animal, even though for different reasons, like you're pointing out. Now let's see the Gemara. So Omar Shmuel, that which we say is pater mimisa. In other words, all these cases we don't kill the animal because we've seen till now, right? There's like two different categories. There's does the owner pay kofir, and that really depends if it's tam or muad. And then there's the other aspect of do we kill the animal, and that animal depends on kavana or not. Okay, so if there was no kavana, then you don't kill the animal, even if it was a muad. Now, Amar Shmuel pater mimisa. So you are pater. The animal is pater from misa, but v'chayiv b'kofir. But let's say this animal was a third time, right? Then the owner would pay kofir. If Rav Omar pater mizah. Rav says, no. You're pater not only the animal pater from killing, but also the owner is pater from paying. So Rav says, hatamu. First of all, why would he pay kofir? Isn't he a tamu? Rav. So like Rav said another case, but more lipo al b'nei adam the barais. Another case later on where we had an animal guy, owner had to pay kofir when his animal fell upon someone in a pit and killed. He says, why do you pay kofir? So we said, there it was already the third time. It's a clumsy animal. It's the third time the animal was falling in pits. Therefore, it's muad. So too in this case, this animal was a muad hakinami. The muad is chachek al b'nei adam miksala. This animal has been muad to basically rub up against the wall, knocking a wall down onto a person on the other side. See, hachi baktolu. So if that's the case, that's what it does. It waits, it sizes up till a person's on the other side of the wall and bangs against the wall, knocks the wall down. So it should be killed. So bish lamahas. So in the case of the pit where he says 3 times that it fell, the chaza yeruka. So we see that the animal didn't intend to kill the person. It saw some vegetation on the side wall of the pit, the nafal, and it was clumsy enough, and it was trying to eat it, and it fell down. So clearly, it was trying to go ahead and eat. Remember over here, how do you know the animal's intentions are? Do we ask the animal after? Did you mean to kill the person or just knock the wall? The Torah says, over here, no, he was rubbing against the wall for his own benefit, and we know Yadin, and how do we know that? The bus nafal comes right? That even after the wall fell, he was still searching for a wall to scratch his back. In other words, it wasn't that he was going to go ahead and try to kill a person. He didn't care about that. Even after the person died, he was still scratching his back. So you see clearly that this animal is a back scratcher, right? Or a side scratcher. So therefore, in that case, even though he was a muad to do it, it was unintentional to kill the person. So where it says, the kati tzoros, well, this is only tzoros, right? This is only tzoros, and therefore there should be no kofar in the case of tzoros, right? Tzoros is the animal's walking, and it kicks up pebbles, right? And it shoots off from his walking, and it breaks a vase or something, right? So over here, the animal's on the wall, and then the stones from the wall, fly out from it knocking against the wall. So why isn't it tzoros where he's patur from kofar? Some Rav Mari, Bereit Rav Kahana, the Ka'azil Mineu Mine. In other words, the animal doesn't just hit the wall and the stones fall down. Basically, it pushes the entire wall down the entire time until it kills the person. So in other words, it's not considered to be tzoros, something separated from the animal or connected to his body. The animal leaned against it and pushed the wall the entire way, and therefore it's not considered to be tzoros. So Tanya Kavase the Shmuel, the Tiyuf to the Rab. We have a brisa in support of Shmuel. And Shmuel was the one who said that even though yes, this case is pater misa, but you're chayav b'kofer, and it's a kasha and Rab who says no, you're even pater from kofer. Let's see, yesh chayav b'misa u'v'kofer. There are 4 categories, right? There's basically, like as we pointed out before, right? There's like 2 different issues going on, and when you have 2 and 2, there's basically 4 categories. So Yesh chayv b'misa v'kofer, you can be chayv in both. The yesh chayv v'kofer pater misa, you can be chayv in kofer and pater mimisa, right? Which would be maybe if our case, if we point out that would be just like Shmuel, right? The yesh chayv b'misa pater b'kofer. There's the opposite. You can be chayv putting out to death if the owner doesn't pay kofer. Yesh pater mizeh, and you can also be pater from both, putting out to death and paying kofer. So so what are the cases? Muad b'kavana. If the animal's ready a 3rd time, is that a b'kavana, then chayiv b'miso b'kofer. Then they chayiv to go ahead and kill the animal, and also the husband, the owner pays kofer. Muad shlo b'kavana. Now l'chayr, this is our case, and it'll be a support of Shmuel, right? Muad, or in other words, is ready the 3rd time, but it unintentionally killed a person. Chayiv b'kofer u'pater b'misa. Clearly states that he's chayiv to pay the kofer and he's pater b'misa. And tam b'kavana. Let's say it was a 1st-time offense, but it was done b'kavana. Chayiv b'misa. They do put the animal to death. However, the owner is pater b'kofer. And tam shlo b'kavana was the 1st-time offense and it was done unintentionally. Then pater mizeh. Period. V'hanazikin. And when it comes to damages, shelo b'kavana, unintentional damages. Rabbi Yehuda mechayiv. Right, Rabbi Yehuda says chayiv, Rabbi Shimon poter, and Rabbi Shimon says poter. Now, my time with Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reason why Rabbi Yehuda says if he caused damage without intention, then Rabbi Yehuda says chayiv? My time with Rabbi Yehuda. So yavim kaifer. That's a kaifer. Ma kaifer shelo b'kavana chayiv, just like by kofar, even though it was shelo b'kavana, but if it was the 3rd time, then you're chayiv. After the zikin, so the zikin shnami shelo b'kavana. Chayiv. Rabbi Shimon Yaliv Miktala. We learn from the death of the animal, right? The shore. Maktale Shalabikavana. Just like over there when he killed the Shalabikavana pater, we don't go ahead and kill the animal. After Zikin, Shalabikavana, so too, if it causes damage, Shalabikavana, then he's pater. So just like the animal's not killed, so too he doesn't pay the kofer. But the other case, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't learn from the killing the animal, rather he learns from the paying of the kofar aspect.
Kofar is paid when a tam or a muad kills a person.
Yeah, a muad, only a muad.
Only a muad.
Only a muad when it kills a person. Right.
Okay, only a muad.
Right.
Okay. So, but that's an aspect of Karen. Why would we have a Havamina that it would apply to a case of
this is
Rega?
Nazikin. Well, no, this is Nazikin. This is called damages. Now, let's say as any of these cases that we still learn out aspects from the other. In other words, that just if there are certain qualities and that go from one to the other. So even though the kofar payment is something that was taught out right in the Torah by goring, nevertheless, it does apply in other cases. There would be kofar payment, even like what we saw in the case of bor, which we'll see later on and stuff like that. So there are aspects of killing a person, or is ready the third time, that there would be a kofar payment. And so therefore, we want to learn now the cases of damages also. You cause damage, right? Even goring also causes damage, tam or muah. So over here, the question is, if it was unintentional, shelo b'kavana, do you pay the damages even by goring in this case, right? So Rabbi Yehuda, so he says, Rabbi Yehuda nami nile miktali. So why didn't you learn Rabbi Yehuda that you should potter from damages, just like if the animal kills, we don't kill we don't kill the animal because of shelo b'kavana. So too you should pay for the nezikin. So he says no. No, we learn one. No, we learn. We go ahead and we learn the payment from the payment. Is you're chayav to pay kofar. So too you're chayav to pay damages, and we don't learn the status of the animal. Rabbi Shimon nami dilef mikayfer. So why doesn't Rabbi Shimon learn from kayfer that if you're chayav for kayfer, you should be chayav and not learn from the animal who's pater from Isa, therefore you're pater from paying damages. So now here comes a lam d'sheteretz. So danin chayuva d'shor mechayuva d'shor. When it comes to damages, it's the ox doing something, right? So therefore, the ox gets punished. So the ox, even though it's not the ox's wallet, right? But when it comes to the shore, right? In other words, to kill him, so therefore the shore is at fault. You go ahead and you put to death the shore. So over here, damages are the shore's is the shore's fault. As opposed to kofar is an atonement for the owner. It's not necessarily something that the owner caused. It's something that this was a kofar, which is basically a kapara payment for the owner. So therefore, to go ahead and compare damages caused by the animal to payment of kofar is not really apples to apples. It's more similar, says Rabbi Shimon. It's more similar to killing the animal or the damages caused by the animal is more similar to whether we kill the animal or not, versus the owner having to pay a kofar payment. Two dots. All these cases we said pater. So learns from there. It sounds like in this case, if the animal was charging at Reuven, and then Shimon came along and pushed Reuven out of the way to save his life, and the animal killed Shimon, it'd be chayiv, right? Our Mishnah seems to say only if he was intending to kill an animal and killed a person, then he's pater, or a guy and then a Jew, then he's pater. Mashma that if he intended to kill a Jew and killed a different Jew, he'd be chayiv, right? That's l'chayr the diuk from our Mishnah. So Hanis Kam Lauraget Zeb Haraget Zechai. So Masnis and the Lake Rabbi Shimon. Our mission is not like that which Rabbi Shimon says. Thank you. The Tanya will learn in the Rice, Rabbi Shimon Aimer, Afilin is Kabila Haraget Zeb, Haraget Zeb Pater. If an animal, right? So not like our mission, right? So if the animal goes ahead and is mechavin to go ahead and kill Ruvain, it ends up killing Shimon. Pater. My time the Rabbi Shimon was going to Shimon Demarkar. The pasuk says, Hashoy Yisakel v'gam Baalav Yumas. Right, it says over there you stone the animal and also the owner's yumas. It's a payment, right? We don't actually kill, right? The owner, right? The human is only killed for actually killing something, not owning an animal that kills.
He killed the wrong man, but he doesn't pay anything.
So according to Rabbi Shimon is pater. According to Rabbi Shimon, because the animal was intending to kill A, and B jumped in the way and it killed B instead. Pater.
So there's no kofar even.
So in that case.
What are we saying that he's putter from?
Yeah.
The animal is putter from being killed,
So-
or the owner is putter from having to pay kofar?
So it would depend on how you learn I guess Rav or Shmuel, right? Because Shmuel says you're already chayiv in these cases, right? Even if you tend to go ahead and we just see one thing on the Mishnah, right? So Shmuel says even if you go ahead and let me just see where's the Rashi for a second. Pater mimisa chayiv b'kofer, right? In other words, yeah. So according to you're always chayiv according to Shmuel. You're always chayiv kofar. So certainly you'd be chayiv in these cases, right? But according to Rav, so that's what we're saying. So he says, I'll show you. So to me says Balaam, Kach me says Ashur. So it's the same way the misa, quote unquote, the misa of the owners, Kach me says Ashur. Now, what's the case of a misa of a balam? So ma balam adim is le, just like when an owner is put to death, a human is put to death. It's only until he's having to kill it to kill Ruvain. If someone intends to kill Ruvain and he has a bad shot and he kills Shimoni's potter, right? So ma balam adim is le, afshor nami adim is le. So to the shore ad bechavin le. Well, you're chayv din shemayim for sure. Right. So that this might even be more than in other words, you might not even be allowed to because it's even more severe. Right, carve the maze. Let's soon see this going on.
Second degree murder.
So let's see, but let's see about humans killing humans. And how do we know? Right, is that case that I stated as fact? How do we know that's even true? How do we know that if one intends to kill A and he kills B, what's Allah there? The pasuk says, "Va'arev lo v'kamalov." It says over there, and he ambushes him and comes upon him. So when you ambush someone, you have intention on that person. Ad she's chavin lo, right? Until you go ahead and you intend for this intent for that target. I've Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan who argued, and the Rabbanan who argued, Rabbi Shimon said, you'd even be patur in this case. Hi, Ari lo my avidah. Samei debei Rabbi Yanei. Saprat lezarik evan lego. Right, this would exclude someone who basically goes ahead and throws a stone into a public, right? Mm-hmm. So such a case, that person is puzzled because he didn't ambush them in that case. What's the case there? If this we're talking about, there's nine goyim and one Yisrael there, so typically the Ruba Canaan. So of course you'd be potter because over there, there's you go after the rove. Right, inami, or even palgo, something in the pashlaka, or even if it was 50-50, then you go 50-50 is something the pashlaka. So therefore, we suffix whether his intentions was it for the Jews or the not Jews. Nevertheless, he would be putter. So let's tzricha diika tisha Yisrael. Now we're talking about a case of where there is 9 Yisrael, the echad Canaan, right? So there's 9 Yisrael, the echad Kanani. The Afagav the Ruba Yisrael Nino, even though there's a majority of Yisrael Nino, since there is a Kanani amongst them, Avile Kavua. Therefore, he's a Kavua, Kavua, Kamefta, Meftadami, so therefore, they have a case, a suffix, and therefore, we would indeed go ahead and say, according to this, so according to Banan, so if you indeed try to kill one Jew and you kill a different Jew, right? That would be a case of, the way they learn the puzzle now, that you would be chayiv in such a case, right? Because we're only talking about a case of where there was a Kanani, and therefore we make a mechza because they were in their spot, and therefore we don't look at the probability, we look at the different options, right? Jew or non-Jew, which is 50-50. And therefore, something nefashos lahakil in such a case. Fine. Mishnah. We got to the Mishnah on Mem Daled on my base. Says the Mishnah, Shor Ha'isha, Shor Ha'yisaimim, Shor Ha'yavachopis, Shor Ha'midbar, Shor Ha'hektish, Shor Ha'ger Shemeis Fein Lo Yarsh. An ox belonging to him, and all these oxes are basically just not owned by a man. Okay, so ox owned by a woman, ox owned by orphans, an ox that's being watched by an apotropos, an administrator, or a wild shor hamidbar, was a wild ownerless shore, a shore that belongs to hektish, and a shore that was owned by a ger who died, and he doesn't have any yorship, and therefore basically it's also similar to hefker. Hare elu chayavin misa. These animals can be put to death if, in other words, you don't need an owner to go ahead, a male owner to go ahead and put the animal to death. If it was done b'kavana, whether tam or muad, you put the animal to death. Yehuda Omer, no. Shor midbar, shor hekdesh, shor hager shemesh, turmin amisa lefi shein lam bal. This is no, the last three, the ones that completely don't have an owner, not the ones that are owned by, let's say, a woman or Yisayim, rather ones that are completely ownerless, such as a wild one from for the midbar, or one that was owned by hekdesh, also not an owner, or with a ger who died with no yorshin. Those are pater according to Rabbi Yehuda.
The idea that you probably like kill animal even at the time because you don't want to kill them
Right.
again.
Right.
Well, because nobody owns it. Okay, well, let them kill them when you can.
Right. Yeah. 100%. So we'll soon see there's some svaras today that are counterintuitive, right? In other words, sort of backwards logic. Well, let's see the Gemara. So Tana Rabban says, shor, shiva. Says if you actually go ahead and count the word shor in the parsha over there, in Shmos Chaf Aleph. So you look over there, it says it 7 times. So lahavi 2. So 1 obviously you need for the pasuk, and so there's 6 extra. So now if you actually go ahead and do the count, we had 6 in our Mishnah, and we're going to list those 6 here. Lahavi to include shor isha, shor that of a woman, shor yisamin, or that of orphans, or shor b'chopis, or an ox bought by administrators, shor midbar, or a wild ox, shor hekdesh, or an ox belonging to hekdesh, or shor hager shemeis vein lo yorshin, or a shor that belongs to a ger who died and does not have any inheritors. Yehuda Omer, shor midbar, shor hekdesh, shor hager shemeis vein lo yorshin turmin misa. No, they are put in misa lefi shein lahem ba'alim because they don't have owners. So
he's not counting the times that.
Right. So he says pater for them. Right. So we'll soon see. So Amar Rav Huna. It says Rav Huna basically, and that which Rabbi Yehuda says, Poter haya Rabbi Yehuda afilu nagach u'v'soif hikdish. Even in the case of person's animal just gored, and he's oh man, I love this animal, put him to death. I have an idea. I'm going to makdish this animal. So it gored, and okay, let's bring it to base then. Oh, this animal, I raise the hekdesh, and okay, now they can't do it. According to Rabbi Yehuda, now it's ownerless. Right, corner of Yehuda is ownerless, and therefore you don't put it to death. Or nagach or he was mafker. He says this animal is ownerless. Those cases, still you put it from putting the animal to death. So where says mimai? Why do you say that? I mean, Tani says Tarti is 2 different cases. It says shor midbar. Shor midbar is an animal that's hefker, a wild animal, ownerless. The shor hager shemes, and an ox that was owned by a ger, a convert. And he didn't have children after he converted. Vein lo yorshin, therefore he doesn't have yorshin. So wait, what is that? Shor hager shemes, ma'inihu. What is that? The kevan lo yorshin. Have they shor hefker? That's a shor hefker. That's an ownerless shor. That's an ownerless ox. Haina shor midbar, which is the same as shor midbar. So why do you have to say both? Haina shor hager shemes, vein lo yorshin. Why do you have to say both? Elav kamash malon the afilu nagach l'v'soif hikdish nagach l'v'soif hikdish. Right? Even if he comes to teach you that even if it gored and then afterwards makdish, there's one is the case of where it was mamish hefker, right? Then it kills, so he's potter. Not only that case, but even if it goes out and gores, and then he's makdish, then he's mafkir or makdish it afterwards, that would potter it according to Rabbi Yehuda from misa. Shema mina. Indeed, learn from there.
So we're saying that the shor gored while the ger was still alive.
In that case, right? And then he's mafkir,
and then he dies.
Right.
So it's ownerless now.
Yeah. Or the other case of where a person owned it, and since that case, it's like a double case. So therefore, even if it's a regular case, a regular person owns it, you own your animal, and then it gores and it kills,
Right.
you mafkir it, it's as it's ownerless as putter. You just saved its life. PETA would be proud. So Tani Ami Hawkinson learned, yes, Rabbi Yehuda, afilu nagach l'v'soif hikdish. Even if it gored and afterwards he's makdish it or nagach l'v'soif hikdir, or it gored and then he's said it's hafker, putter. The animal is putter for misa. Shneimar as the pasuk says, "Who had the bala of the hebis b'chules?" It says, "Who have a bala ad shitehei misa v'amad b'din," until it's killed and it went in front of a court, shoving until. Those are all the same status under the Balav, and therefore, since he's not on the Balav by the time of the court case, because he just was mafkir's animal, so therefore it's potter. So the Gemara says, "I the didn't loy and you don't need a verdict. You just need to go in front of the basin." I go Ashor Yisakil. We said about Ashor Yisakil. The pasuk we learn from there. Gemara dinner, right? And Ashor Yisakil means that the animal is stolen, meaning that's the verdict. So Ela Ema, in other words, it has to be under the owner. Achde Misav Amad Bedin. The Gemara didn't show him until no, it has to be gored under the same owner, and then brought to court under the same owner, and then the verdict under the same owner. Then it's at that point, then you would kill the animal. It's too late to be mafkirat or be mafkishit. Fine. Next mission. Mission says, "Shor shu yotzei lisakel." An animal is almost continuing this conversation. The animal is going out to be stoned. Has already had his verdict. V'dishu balav, his owner says, "Is hektish." Eino mukdash. Does not work. It's not hektish. Shachtu b'saro.
Already dead.
Well, they didn't shach it. It's going out.
Yeah, I know, but you.
We'll soon see. Well, we'll soon see. Ain't the mukdash. What about this? Shachto, let's say he's going out. He quickly grabs his knife. He goes and he shachs it before they can stone it. The meat is usher. But if he did, he was makdish it or he shechted it before the verdict. Of mukdash, then it does work. Then mutter. If he goes and shachs it, then his meat is mutter. All right, period. And the Mishnah. New Mishnah.
That's before Martin.
That was before he went there. Yes. Now, new case. Right? A little bit of see it for you. If he gives it over to his shomer chinam, right? Someone who's doing him a favor, right? Watching him for free. Now, most times, shomer chinam has the least amount of responsibility because he's doing him a favor. So Eddie owns an animal. I'm doing him a favor. So therefore, since the benefit is totally Eddie's, therefore I have the least amount of responsibility. So that's the shomer chinam, or the shoyel. I'm a borrower, right? Eddie gets zero benefit. I get all the benefit, right? Or the nice schar, or you pay me to watch it, so there's equal benefit. I'm getting paid. You're having a watch. I'm a seicher, or I'm a renter, right? You're getting paid. I get to use it. So there's equal. All these cases, so once he has his tachas abaylam, muad mishalim nezek shalem v'tam mishalim chatzi nezek. So that person in that case was Eddie's. I now since I'm taking it over one of these cases, I'm watching it, I'm renting it, or borrowing it, whatever it is. I'm now responsible for its. If it was a muad, for its nezek shalem, or if it was just the first time for its chatzi nezek, I am in place in lieu of the owner. Fine. Now, and if something would happen to it, right, then let's say, it caused damage and they have to sell it, or chatinez, or whatever it is, obviously I would also have to reimburse Eddie because I borrowed his animal and now I'm not returning his animal. The animal damaged somewhere else or damaged, Mark's stuff. So I had to pay Mark. Eddie's like, okay, you rented it for a week. Where's my ox? Oh, so in that case, in addition to me paying Mark, I also have to pay Eddie back his animal. Now,
the assumption it's a muad that the borrower or the showman knows it's a muad.
Yeah, so we're assuming it. Yeah, so we're going to assume that it is known, but we're assuming there's different levels of responsibility in terms of the shmira, what type of shmira is required. So let's see.
Is the owner is responsible to actually say what the status is?
Yeah, that information was given over. And we had a case before. The guy says, "Oh, I was buying an ox. I didn't know I was buying a lion." Right. So we had those cases, but over here, for today's Gemara, there's everything is on the up and up. So Tanur about it. If an animal, right, Shahid killed, and before its verdict, machru, then the guy sells it. So before the verdict, so he sells it. Machru, it's sold, right? You can go ahead and sell before the verdict. You better do before the verdict. Mukdash, it does work. Shachtu b'saro. If he goes out and shachs its meat, then it's mutter, also mutter. Zero shomer lebeis balav. Muchsar. It's returned. In other words, like this. My animal goes ahead and damages Mark's property or kills his animal. All right, you got to go to court. So before I go to court, I quickly return the animal to Eddie. Eddie, here's the animal. Goodbye. And by the way, tomorrow, Monday, 9:00, you got to go to the base. You got to go to the CRC. It's considered to be returned. I borrowed an animal from you. I returned it. It's going to get killed tomorrow, or his verdict, and whatever it is, gets put to death. I still return the animal. It's considered to be muhzar. However, once Mishignig Mardino, once it goes ahead and you had the verdict, and I sell it after the verdict, then the regular owner, he tries to sell it, doesn't work. He tries to In the case of a shomer, the base balav, if there's a verdict, right? It was already Monday at 9 o'clock. I went to court and the animal was there and the chayiv. And then I return it before it gets put to death. Shomer base balav, eino muchzer. It's not considered to be returned. Rabbi Yaakov, says Rabbi Yaakov, it is returned. Even though this animal now has a death sentence, it's still considered to be returned to Eddie, and therefore I don't have to go ahead and pay.
It's only on the animal responsibility of seeking, still be on the
100%. Right. But the only question is, right, as I mentioned before, so if I go ahead and I, get caught up in whatever, and the animal, has to, be sold for chatzinezik, whatever it was, so the animal goes there and I still owe Eddie an animal because I borrowed an animal. I didn't return it, right, for my rental lease or whatever it is. So, but if I return it, even though it has a court case, and according to Yaakov, even if it has a verdict to put to death, I have returned the animal to Eddie. I'm still responsible for whatever damages it costs, like you're pointing out. But I fulfilled my obligation to Eddie, right? And that's what Rabbi Yaakov is arguing on. All right.
Okay, but if the Beit Din declared this animal comes and you vacate because it has to be put to death,
Right.
would that take away the activity?
That's the chiddush. So let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. Very
Give
good.
another animal.
I mean, that's what this Gemara is.
We'll give another animal to replace the original animal. It would have to be the same status as what the original animal was.
Yeah, the would have. Yeah, it would have. I have an obligation. This animal was worth a certain amount. So let's see. So Leibal Kamifli. Let's see. So now Rabbi Yaakov has a bigger chemish. One thing is, okay, you have a court case tomorrow. Maybe you'll defend yourself better than me, and you'll be fine, and you keep your animal, and no problem. Everything is all good. All right. But Rabbi Yaakov says even if there's a verdict, it's considered to be returned. Mark says, "What's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. Look, you're giving him, he's a dead man, right? It's worthless, right?" So Leibal Kamifli, the Rabbanan Savri Ein Aimrim B'Yisrei Hana Harei Shachal V'Necha. The Rabbanan hold that you don't say something if something becomes Aser B'Hana. So now this thing is Aser B'Hana. You can't get any benefit from it. Oh, here, take it back, right? I borrowed some meat, all right, what I was going to use it for, and I melted it, some cheese in it, whatever it is. I gave him back the meat. So it's Aser B'Hana. So according to Rabbanan, if it's Aser B'Hana, its value is zero. So I borrowed $100 of meat, or I borrowed this animal is worth $100. I returned to him something which is zero because it has a verdict. So therefore, it's not considered a muchzar. No, it is before it. Rabba says, opposite of Mark, and I felt like Mark also, says Rabba, no, the kuliyama imrim bisur hana harei shachal v'necha. You could say, same as Asur Ba'ana, you say, that here is before you. Why? Because where is the classic case of that? In Cain, nifluk in a chametz b'Pesach. Because by chametz b'Pesach, if someone borrows chametz for Pesach and became Asur B'Hana, right, over Pesach, and you return it, it's considered to be returned. All right? And no one argues there. No one says, what do you mean? This was zero, so you didn't return anything. You still owe them the amount of chametz. No, it's considered to be harei shachal l'fanecha. So therefore, in that case, it's considered to be returned. So too in this case, it should be returned. So if that's the case, why do the Rabbanan say it's not considered to be returned? Over here, they're arguing as to whether you can go ahead and argue a case whether you need the animal in basement. The Rabbanan Savri, who say it's not considered to be returned, you can only go ahead and have the court case of the animals there. Right? Says, hey, Eddie would have said to me, hey, Yoel, if you would have returned the animal to me, right, and not go to court, right, so I would have just hid the animal out in the woods. They wouldn't be able to try the animal, and it wouldn't be worthless. It would be worth whatever it's worth because they couldn't find it, right? But now you gave it to somebody who I can't argue and did it anymore. In other words, you sealed its fate by returning it. So therefore, by you giving it to the Gemar Din, that's what caused the damage, and therefore you're responsible. It's considered ein muksar. Rabbi Yaakov said, no. You can have the court case even if the animal's not here. So it doesn't make a difference where the animal is. You can hide the animal in Africa. It doesn't make a difference. You can still find the animal with Yichayv. So therefore, Eddie would not have a claim against me that why'd you go ahead and give it to the courts, because the courts don't need it to have the case, and therefore I'm returning it to him. Nevertheless, something we are having me related the Dina. Nevertheless, I'm returning. So my time the Rabbanon, what's the reason going to Rabbanon? So Pasuk says, Hashor Yisakav Agam Balav Yumas. So Kamisas Abalam, Kach Misas Azor. Just like owners, right? The Misas Abalam, so too the Misa of the shore. Ma Balam B'fneim. Just like when an owner has a court case, in other words, when he's tried, he has to be there B'fneihem. Ashor B'fanav. So too, the ox has to be present, just like the owner has to be present. Rabbi Yaakov says, no, Bishlo B'alim B'rei Tainidi. No. The reason why people have to be in court, defense have to be in court, humans, is because they can make claims. They can say this happened or that happened. Mm-hmm. However, Elashor, Batanisu, but can an ox make a claim? They cannot. So therefore, you don't need them, right? It's unnecessary to have them in court. Fine.
The whole more of the soft shore and all these stuff. It seems to imply that you can pinpoint which shore.
Yeah.
It's like
right. I mean, we did have a case earlier. Well, he became. There was a svara to say that it was muad. I just don't know which one are your animals. So the guy's like, "Well, what was supposed to do?" So the Gemara says, "Well, you got to watch all of them."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see one shore, I would know who was who.
Yeah.
So
Right.
apparently, those
Right. Well, so I watch those like nature shows like on Netflix, and they always know like which animal, like which gorillas, like I don't know, they all look the same to me, but like yeah, no, but right, but even though it has a little white spot, or whatever, but yeah, all right, I don't know. So matzu l'shem. Now let's go to the second part of the Mishnah. We says that the shomer, the guy, basically is in lieu of the owner, and he's now has the same responsibility as the owner would have. Now, therefore, who are basically now take the place of the owner. And these are a free watchman, a person who borrows it, a person who's paid to watch it, or a renter. Hargu tamin, if they kill when they're a tam, so nahargin, determine a kaifer. Just like in the case, so the animal was put to death, and the watchman is pater for paying kafir because it's a tam. Muad, if it's a muad, that's nahargin. If it was done by kavanah that they're killed, when misham is a kafir, then he has to go. Then the renter or the bower or the watchman, whatever it is, they have to go ahead and pay the kafir. Then they have to go ahead and pay the owner back. In addition to paying the kafir, they also have to go ahead and pay the owner back for his animal because it was put to death. Chutz mishomer china, except for the guy who was doing the favor. He was a free watchman. Okay, chutz mishomer china. All right. So if I was the case, I was borrowing from Eddie, animal killed. So all this case, I would have to go ahead and pay Eddie back for the animal, except for a shomer china. Now, so I'm going to hey what's the case? Right, chayv the kofar. Right. So now the Gemara says, well, hey chidami, what is this case? So if we're talking about where the animal was washed. Right. In other words, and then all of them he should go ahead and be putter. Right. He should be putter, and I was not just. In other words, if I watch it, I didn't do anything wrong, so I should be putter. And if I didn't go ahead and watch it, I feel the shemechinam nechayim. And if I didn't watch it all, okay, can you watch my animal? Sure, I'll watch the animal. I go inside and watch the football game, and I don't watch his animal at all, and it causes damage. So of course I have to go ahead and pay it. I say, shemechinam, right? That's negligence. Somebody say, no, I'm Yachabay Skidan. The natre shmira pachusav, lo natre shmimula. It was he gave a minimal washing, but not the the full maximum, right? I closed the fence. I didn't go ahead and turn all the cameras on and tie it up and so on and so forth, right? I didn't make it 100%. So that's called natira pachusa, natira muula. So now. So shemer chinam kalas shmir also. So when it comes to a shemer chinam, right? So minimal is good enough. So therefore, since it was good enough, therefore I'm putter from going ahead and paying. However, he not like kalas shmir also, but the others that they have more responsibility than just closing the fence. So therefore, they're responsible to go ahead and pay the owner back. So come on. Now, we're soon going to see a machlekes in terms of what type of shmira is required. Is it minimal shmira or a maximum shmira? Right? We'll call those two categories, minimum and maximum. So come on. Rabbi Meir, if we hold like Rabbi Meir, the Amar Shemer Sachar, the Amar Sachar Kushemer Chinam. So over there, he says a Sachar is like a Shemer Chinam. In other words, like this. A renter is the same responsibility as a person who owns. There's probably a missing a package. like in like Lawndale or something like that. So I saw I got a ring also.
It's louder.
Yeah. So we say, so in a case, so a renter is just like a person, a shemerchina, right? So doing someone a favor is also like renting because the guy's in business of renting. So therefore, it's similar to that. So if you say that, so if you say shemerchina dami, so lisni chutz mi shemerchina v'seicher, right? So if it's like Rabbi Meir who holds that that is seicher just like a shemerchina, so it shouldn't be everyone has to pay back except for a shemerchina. It should be everyone has to pay back except for a shemerchina and a seicher. Rabbi Yehuda, Damer Seicher, Kanaisi Skar, but if he says no, like Rabbi Yehuda, the renter is just like a paid watchman, dummy. So Nisni, Chutz mi Shemerchinam, except for Shemerchinam, the Kulan, B'madim P'turi in Kaifer. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, they'd be all putter when it comes to Kofir, as we'll soon see, because when it comes to them, they according to Rabbi Yehuda, you would even be putter from Kaifer. So Rav Huna Bar Chinna Hamani, who is this Rabbi Eliezer? Amar Ein Lo Shmira Ela Sakin. You know how to watch an ox with a knife, i.e., shafted. There's no way to watch it. It's always you can't prevent it, and therefore you're always going to be responsible. And so therefore, really, it's not watched. However, when it comes to rent, there's several. Rabbi Yehuda, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, like a seicher is a skar, and therefore it only says chutz me shemerchin. And Abai Amar Liyalan Kramer, really, it's like Kramer with the Bechaliv Rabbi Ravua, like that which Rabbi Ravua such Ramatani taught. Seicher Ketza Mishalim. Rabbi Meir Aimer Kishamir Sachar. So he said a seicher is just like a shamir sachar. So there now as he learns, Rabbi Yehuda is different. He doesn't learn that seicher is like a shamir chinam. Rather, a seicher is like a shamir sachar. And Rabbi Yehuda was the one that says shamir chinam was like a shamir chinam. And Amar Rabbi Ezra says Rabbi Ezra Masu Shar the shamir chinam. So if he goes then and gives an ox to a shemerchinam, hazik, if it goes then and causes damage, then chayiv. Huzak, if it becomes damaged, then he's putter. All right, so then he's putter. Free watching. So if something happened to the animal, then I'm putter. But if it damaged another animal, then I'm chayiv. So I'm going to say, hey, then what's the case? Either kabbalah shmiras, if shmiras nizikav, if he went ahead and accepted damages, whatever damages happened, afilu who's like nami, even if it becomes damage, you should be chayiv because he accepted those responsibilities. If you like kabbalah shmiras nizikav, and he says, I'll watch it for free, but I'm not responsible for any sort of damages. Afilu he's like nami pater. Then I should be pater even if it causes damage. So Rabba liyalam shekibalav shmiras nizikav. Really, he accepted by himself. I will make sure your animal does not cause damage to others. Right? And over here, we're talking about a case of where he did recognize that it was a goring animal, right? Right? And therefore, so he says, okay, I'll make sure that it doesn't go off and cause damage. And therefore, if it does cause damage, he's responsible. However, it says, for it to go ahead and cause damage to others, that he was makabel upon himself. But for it to be damaged, that he was never responsible for, and therefore he'd be putter in that case. He's doing a good guy. Can you watch it? Like, what's the point of, I mean, my parents tell me, my parents ask you, watch their kids when they go to Atlantic City, and they say, can you watch the kids? Make sure they don't run away. Yeah, make sure they don't run away. So if you say no, I will not prevent that, then they'll say, well, your point is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. For the background story, Alan babysat me when I was probably around 7. Second grade. And I guess I got upset and I ran away. All right. My parents are in Atlantic City. All right. Anyway, so Mishnah. Yeah. So Mishnah says, he tied it up with a leash. And he locked it up properly. He gets out and causes damage. So whether it was a tam or a muad, then he is chayiv. Divrei Rabbi Meir. We'll soon see why. Rabbi Yehuda tam chayiv. No, if it was a tam, then it's chayiv. But a muad, right, which is opposite of is pater. Shnamar. The pasuk says. And his owners did not watch in the case of Muad. The Shamar was there, but this one was watched. It was a minimal watch, but it was watched. So therefore, he's pater if it was a Muad. And Rabbi Ezra says, we just saw, Ein lo shmira ela saki. You know how to watch an animal? Shechter. Otherwise, there's no really way to have it watched. Now, Zok the Gemara, Samai time of the Rabbi Meir. What's the reason according to Rabbi Meir? Doesn't make any sense. So, Stam Sharim, La b'ches shimur kaim. Right? most animals are not in the state of being guarded. Right? In other words, and the Torah says if it's a tam, you are responsible. So what does that mean to do? You have to do a minimal amount of watching. And then Torah says it says he didn't watch it. Then over there you need for a muad you need even more of a shmira. The Yalef Nagicha Latam, the Nagicha Lamuad. And therefore, Rameir learns that just the Tam to the Muad. And therefore, it has to be a Shmira Me'ula. It has to be a top-notch Shmira. And he didn't do that in the case of, right, the Tam or the Muad. And therefore, says Rameir, you're always Chai. No, most animals already like watch. They're timid. They don't really cause damage. The Torah says the tam mishalim. In other words, you have to go ahead and give it because it's normally regularly watched. So you have to make it super watch, which is mu'ula. And then it says again by muad, it was not watched. And it says you need an extra guard to watch, but we just said you need extra guard to watch. So havi ribu acharibu, therefore it's a ribu acharibu, they ribu acharibu elamit, and therefore the ribu acharibu it only really comes to minimize, comes to teach us the miyah because the shmir me'ula to minimize from shmir me'ula, and therefore v'chi tem the gichel tam the gichel muad, and therefore it comes to teach like this: when it comes to a tam, you need shmir me'ula, but when it comes to a muad, you only need shmir pchusa.
Really?
According to this source, right, which is illogical. Right? So if that's the case, why do we learn the Yichla Tam and the Yichla Muad? So the says it says only this one you did one. In other words, you don't need the maximum when it comes to Tam. You don't need the maximum when it comes to Muad, only for the Tam. But we do need the pasuk of V'lo Yishmerena for it itself to tell you that you don't watch it. Same Kain, Nichtav Rachmana V'lo Yishmor. My V'lo Yishmerena. That was Ishmael new comes to teach you that only this one doesn't need a shmira me'ula, but other ones do. The tam does. So Tanya, Rabbi Yezer ben Yaakov Vaymer, Echad tam v'echad muad, sheshamro shmira p'chusa pater. So according to Rabbi Yezer ben Yaakov, he says whether it's a tam or muad, if he does the minimum amount of shmira, then he's pater. So my time, but what's the reason according to this Tana? So have a look. Rabbi Yehuda Damarle Muad the Shmir B'chusa. So he holds that Muad only needs a Shmir B'chusa. The Yalib Negicha L'Tav and Negicha L'Muad, and therefore he compares Tam to a Muad that says no, both of them need a minimum amount of Shmir B'chusa. As long as you do a minimum amount, then you are pater. And Amar Avada Barava Lo Pater Rabbi Yehuda El Tzad Hada Shabo Vatzad Thomas become a medicine. Right? Now there's a big chiddush here. Now this is like this: a muad. When we say the muad is pater because you did a minor shmira, it means only the second half. In other words, it's a muad is really a tam and a muad together. Right? There's the chatzi nazek is still in the tam part. So for the first chatzi nazek, you're a chayiv because it was at least a tam, and a tam you need a better shmira. But for the extra half that you pay as a muad, that you're pater from. So that which he says that you're pater in a case of a muad, because you when you only did shmira p'chusa, right, and therefore that's sufficient. It only is talking about the extra, the second half, but the first half, you're no worse than a tam.
Injured, it didn't kill anybody.
Right, let's just talk damages. Right, you're right. We're not talking about kofar. We're talking about damages. But in other words, that. You can't say, well, if it was the first time offense, shmira, p'chusa, you're chayiv for. But if it was a muad, third time, I'm pater for. No. You're chayiv, right? But you're chayiv only half. You don't have the extra portion, right? Unless you did no watching, then you're chayiv even that extra portion.
Having a guy who kills somebody the first time, put him in maximum prison.
Right.
And the guy who kills 3 people, put him in minimum.
Well, that's why it sounds backwards. The logic is backwards. Right, the logic is backwards. So therefore, it makes the logic a little better by saying that you still have the first part is in place. The other part is even worse because if you don't, we'll soon see another shita, right? I know we have another minute or two. We will soon see another shita, not like this. Let's just see it real quick. So Amar Rab Muad lekeren yamin, Eina Muad lekeren small. Just because it's right horn, it gores with right for it doesn't necessarily make. It's left horn muad. So I'm going to say, I'll leave the man. Who's this according to? If it's according to Rabbi Meir, Hamar, muad, shmir me'ula, but you need all types of shmira. So you have to guard them both. And Rabbi Yehuda, Small. Why do you have to say, the left or the right? A feel nami. You could have even in the right horn. You could have tam and muad, right? The is beit tzad tamas, is beit tzad muadis, right? Some of these say liyadan Rabbi Yehuda. He does not hold like Rav Ava that which we just said that the tam is always there and it's just the muad is the extra part. Right? And now in this case, right, you can find where there is a tzad, where there is tamus and muad, that was with the right and left. Aval, muad, legamre, lo mishloach leitzad tamus klal. But when it comes to the muad, when something is a muad, right, for something, then you don't find the horn, any part of tam, because tam is not included in muad. In other words, you could have is always on the right side and at the left side, but you can't have the tam, and once something is a full muad, there is no tam that is part of it. All right, well, I guess we'll just stop here.
45 now?
Yeah, we got. So tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem will.